What if I told you he was an NBA player with a 48-inch vertical? You say that's impressive, right? What if I said the same man also weighed 275 pounds? And what if I said he was also 7'1" and averaged over 50 points per game in just his third season in the NBA? The person that I'm referring to is Wilt Chamberlin, arguably one of the most talented athletes in the NBA and even of all time. Not only was he freakishly agile and tall, but he was also extremely strong as well, with the 500-pound bench press according to Bleacher Report, a website that publishes sports and news content. Aside from physical statistics, he was also a 7-time scoring champion, a 4-time league MVP, Rookie of the Year, the scoring record holder for a single season, and overall was just an amazing player with a proven talent to win. In fact, every single season that he played, his team stayed above 500, which means that you have more wins than you do have losses. He also made the playoffs every single season that he played in the NBA. It seemed as if Wilt was a man amongst boys. Not only did it statistically seem like that, but also visually when you look back at some of the past clips and you look at his amazing athleticism and just the way he played the game, the way he could dominate at that level. Today I'm going to be informing you about how dominant Wilt Chamberlin actually was and put his remarkable statistics and everything he did into perspective. I'll be comparing Wilt to nowadays players as well as players back from his time, and it'll kind of give you a glimpse into the legacy that was Wilt Chamberlin. First, you need a background story. So Wilt Chamberlin was drafted in the 1959 NBA draft, and originally he played with the Harlem Globetrotters before being drafted, where his game would get the attention that it deserved. This put him in the spotlight for NBA scouts, and his stats from high school and college seemed merely unrealistic until he made it to the NBA, and then he made those look like really small numbers. In his first season, Wilt would average 37 points per game, according to ESPN. According to other sites as well, such as Bleacher Report, Wilt also averaged 27 rebounds per game in his first season. To put these stats into perspective, no other NBA player has ever averaged that many points and or rebounds in their first season. He would go on to top his scoring average in his third year when he averaged over 50 points per game. This is the most anyone has ever averaged regardless of age, and is a stat that is unlikely to ever be touched. Wilt holds the top 4 spots for points averaged in a single season, with the 5th spot being Michael Jordan, and Wilt also holds the 6th and 7th spot as well. And to put his athleticism into perspective, I would like to emphasize his shot blocking ability. At the time, goaltending rule was in place in the NBA and didn't start keeping track of blocks until his final 2 years. During 112 of his recorded games, Wilt averaged 8.8 blocks per game, according to fadeawayworld.net, a website that discusses and shares basketball news. The highest blocks per game currently in the NBA is 3.4 blocks per game. According to Basketball Reference, there's never been a single player averaging more than 4 blocks since 1996. And before that, there wasn't a single player to average 5 blocks per game. However, Wilt's abilities didn't just stay on the court. According to Medium.com, Wilt Chamberlin was extremely impressive in track as well in college. Wilt ran a 400-meter run in 49 seconds. That's roughly a little over 18 miles per hour for 400 meters from a man who was 7 foot tall. And he also had an 800-meter run in less than 2 minutes. Wilt wasn't just a talented basketball player. He was an extremely talented and gifted athlete overall. Wilt also had a number of records that were never going to be even touched. Even to this day, they have never even been graced at all. Some of these records include his 100-point game, which the second most points per game in an NBA game was by Kobe Bryant with 81. Another one of his records is 55 rebounds per game, which is more than the average team gets right now in the NBA. Most 50, 60, and 70-point games in an entire career. And he even managed to average over 48 minutes per game in one season, and a basketball game is 48 minutes long. So to go over that is just remarkable. So not only was he averaging these ridiculous stats, he was doing it while playing pretty much the entire game. The only possible way to have that record is to play the entire 48 minutes, go into overtime some games, and still keep the same player in despite the fatigue he gets throughout the whole entire game. So to add it all up, Wilt Chamberlin was a talented track and field star as well, a super strong individual, and one of the most, if not the most talented NBA player of all time. There's a reason why he's so highly regarded and why there hasn't been a player that's even close to emulating his game. I started this video proposing the question of Wilt's abilities and how impressive they are and how impressive they were at the time as well. His statistics stand the test of time, and these numbers overall are nearly impossible to duplicate nowadays. When you combine his pure athleticism across multiple sports, he's unmatched. Personally, I've never seen an athlete perform in such a manner that Wilt did, with such aggression and strength and just pure dominance in any single sport I've ever watched. At the start of this assignment, I made it my goal to show these jaw-dropping statistics and impress the viewers, but now I'm even more impressed than I was when I first did the research. To see on paper his statistics compared to how it is in the NBA now and even how it was back then, it's just unrealistic. I'm not trying to persuade you to one side to convince you he's better than any individual other player. I'm simply providing you with facts and providing you with statistics that were what they were at the time and are still untouched. And I'm going to allow you to make your own conclusion, but that is the legacy that was Wilt Chamberlain.